All right. Well, we are so excited to have Lydia Kitts, the infamous Lydia Kitts, on our show today. Yeah. Show and video series that we're doing. So welcome, Lydia. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. So my name's Lydia Kitts. I am a visual communications professor. So I get to teach like students how to do digital marketing as well as like graphic and website design and strategic storytelling. And I really, really enjoy it. But before I started doing that, I've always been obsessed with like digital entrepreneurship and doing what I teach in the real world. So I have a course called the Stable Income Strategy. And at this point, I'm at around $116,000.
Wow.
Wow.
She's our first $100,000 student teacher.
That's not what we know of, but yeah, we keep getting surprises. So who knows?
Yeah, Carrie's at like 90. I was going to make an award and stuff. You'll get it. You'll get it. It's coming. Maybe a pin or something.
A pen.
A pen. Yeah. Anyways, that's awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah. So, and I've got, I think it's like 305 maybe students that have gone through it at this point.
Amazing.
So, with a lot of like trial and error,
for sure, which we love talking about, obviously.
BBB way.
Yeah. Where do we even start with Lydia? Because, you know, people might recognize her from my webinar. And because her story is always the, oh my gosh, yes, that is of course a way that you like enroll students. So she's always a great example. So why don't we talk about that first launch of the Stable Income course? And then if you want to talk about also maybe like what you tried before you joined BBB, because I know a little bit, you're a teacher, you know how to teach. You teach even, right, the subject that you're actually teaching entrepreneurs as well. And so if you maybe want to talk a little bit about why you joined BBB and like how that helped you actually get your course out the door.
So I've actually done a couple of courses, and it's always like, you know how you see those, I'm a Pinterest person. I'm not going to say freak. Maybe I'm a Pinterest freak. But like how whenever you go through and it's always just like, you need to diversify your income and your business. And you need to do that by creating a course or some kind of info product. And I'm always like, that's great. Yes, I'm totally going to do that. And then I would create something, and my clients are usually like either doing branding or wanting a website design. So I didn't really have like an audience to actually share this with, or at least I didn't think that I did.
Yep.
And so I would create courses, and I love creating courses. Like I do it professionally, like as a professor, you know, creating courses for an entire new program. And that's something that I really enjoy, but I just was really missing the mark on it. Like there was one course that actually kind of has become the Stable Income Strategy slowly, but I thought it was, well, there were two. One was called Heat Maps for Creatives, which was all about using heat maps and data to create websites that convert. I thought it was wonderful.
Sounds cool.
It was well done.
We need that actually. We were talking about how our course is like the opposite of conversion, but yeah, great.
So, in theory, it's all about teaching website designers how to really do data analysis on websites that already exist in order to create or tweak websites so that it was better for the audience. And something that I teach as a professor, like within my website design and development course series, but entrepreneurs were not very excited about it, especially since I literally had a book with assigned readings, very professory, like collegiate side of things. And I think I sold like 4 seats out of it after I'd poured tons of time into creating sales pages and branding. And I had all of the course like videos were super edited with like slide decks that were crazy, and like it was very pretty.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anybody to get it to. And then once I did start getting people into it, like I started just giving it to my website design friends, and they were like, it's great, but it's like too long. It's not the specific things that we actually need. She was like, one student said that they loved it and it was really great from an academic perspective, but she was like, I don't have the time to watch 15 hours worth of you teaching data analysis, even though it was interesting. As a business owner, it totally
didn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I had another one that was called Prepared, and it was all about like emergency preparedness within a business, because one of my master's degrees is in crisis communications. So to me, I think everybody should have a crisis communications plan.
Yeah.
Regardless of how big their business is. But not everybody else thought that they needed to have a crisis communications plan.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, and that kind of like shifted over. There's like, now it's just a module within stable income strategy.
Oh, got it. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it does work out really well. Like it ties in very, very well now after listening to my audience, the people who were asking me to create courses. I think I forget where it is within like Build a Better Beta, but that you like just post on your Facebook and you say like, what would you like me to teach you?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And everybody was just like, how do you have no email list? Like literally no email list. And then still being able to like, and I didn't do any marketing because all of my work was word of mouth. They're like, how do you consistently have like
the big question,
business and income? And like, you're not constantly shoving, your product down people's throats. Like, how do you even like survive as a business owner? And I was just like, started like telling people, and it converted over into the course that I've got now, thanks to you guys. Cause I've took a lot of classes, and courses on creating courses, and they all fell really flat. So at least for me, I'm sure that they were helpful for somebody else, but it wasn't helpful for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about that first beta launch, because I think your unique strategy that I have mentioned, there's a little quote that comes up, but I tell the story, but I would love to hear you kind of share what happened with the launching of that course. And you did it within like 7 days. I think you actually did it as part of the $1 Million Roster, like
a year ago,
that launch style that I did back then. So if you want to share maybe what happened with that and how it came up to be, basically.
So, if I've forgotten something, remember that I have, just remind me.
I'll be like, no, it was this amount of dollars. At least that's what the slide says. No, it's cool. Whatever you say.
Some of it, I literally was at the doctor and I forgot our youngest child's middle name, and I had to call my mom and ask her it's been a crazy year. But anyways, so it's like there was the 7-day challenge, and I don't know how I got connected in with you. I think it was Regina from By Regina,
probably
the one who got us connected. But she was just like, you really just need. She was like, the way that you learn, you need to go and try this out, or just check her out. And so I did. But so I just went through it and just started doing like the validation process of like checking and seeing what people wanted, and then people. I didn't think
that. Yeah.
didn't tell me, which worked out really, really well. But really there's like a setup of like coming up with like the storybook endings that was really helpful for me to actually see like that I had been doing it wrong all along. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking of it in a way that worked for me, but it wouldn't necessarily work for entrepreneurs and people who were wanting to learn from me. Yeah. So really being able to outline that, and then things just like rolled out. Like having those storybook endings and knowing exactly what somebody needed by the time they got through the course was amazing, because I was actually able to come up with a good outline and understand where things were going, but getting the actual feedback, because it was just like in a classroom. Because I like to do like this like guided inquiry learning kind of style of sharing information with students, but then letting them come to like take it, and we just kind of follow along as a guide with them, and being able to do that within a beta style was just great for getting people like actual feedback. And one of the big feedback things that I got from people was that they were really, since it's like it falls around money, they were really uncomfortable with like doing a Facebook group. Or something where they couldn't be anonymous, because I've had people through this that I have looked up to as entrepreneurs and thought like, whoa, they've really got it together. They know they would never have like a month where they're in the red or they would never, like, they're always doing so great and they're so wonderful. And then they like were signing up for my course and I was like, oh, well, I mean, I'm happy to help. Let's do it. But so we ended up doing an email series, which worked really well when it worked. Sometimes it didn't. And like sometimes automations wouldn't go through. And there were a few things, like a few people that got frustrated with that because I was learning how to set all of that up. But we worked it all out and it was all good. But I was selling it at $247 to like, just because that was just the random number that we came up with.
Most of it is. Most of the time we do pricing. The one we feel good with. Yep. Yeah,
it made sense. And I was just like, there's a lot of information that I'm sharing here and it's going to be great and it's going to be good. And I actually ended up at one point like dropping it down because after like talking with people and conversations with the person who needs this, $247 was totally not an option. So I dropped it down to $97 and I just started I had more sales and like a higher profit at the $97 rate than I did.
It happens that way. Yeah, for sure.
$47. And I was really nervous about dropping it down that much, but it paid off. It really did. And it paid off in like their success too, because I was also kind of tied up in like, oh, well, if people don't invest in it, then they're not going to actually take it seriously and they're not going to complete it. I was really nervous about that because everything that I've read, and I'm a research monkey, and I love being able to like go through and look at this. And everything I read said that people need to feel like their investment is enough that they're going to actually go through with it. But I'm happy to say it was wonderfully the opposite with this course, especially just dropping it down to $97 and people just being able to like go through it. It wasn't a big scary investment, but as they went through the whole course, I also set it up kind of like as a nurture sequence for my own business. So like graphic design and website design, I would use examples of like how I use it in my business. So if I had an info product and we were talking about info products and like how those can help you to diversify and stabilize your income, I would have a link to that and somebody would click on it and they'd be like, oh, I want to buy that. And they would purchase.
Is it still 97? It is. Okay. And is it still an email course?
No, I have switched it over because the email course, I've gotten really into like game theory lately.
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm a nerd. and the email course, whenever I dropped it down to $97, there was occasionally like a drop off in completion rate.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I started looking at some more research and then also my own data, I switched it over to just being, I use LearnDash because I like it's frustrating for some people. I love it because I can customize every single thing I could possibly want.
Yeah, totally.
But so then I started, like I added in gamification. So it's just like an entirely like standalone course. It's, I have email reminders, but
yeah.
For the most part, you log in, you get to click through and like complete series. But then also if you want to jump ahead, you can, versus the email course. It was very specific, but also kind of choose your own adventure. So if somebody clicked on, I'm a business coach,
it would give them something different. Wow, that's cool.
And so that's what was causing some of the like misfiring.
That's the problems. Yeah.
Or somebody would like click on business coach, either like with me, like fat thumb, like hitting it on accident, and then they'd get the wrong set of information. And it was too clunky, which the beauty of like BBB is that it's agile. And what I was doing was not. So switching it over, but getting that email, like it was really great because I would actually have people, like students would actually reply to me, and we would have
interesting. Yeah.
I see.
And then we also had a batch that didn't reply ever, and they just went through the whole thing, which is totally fine. But I'm the type of person that if you reply to me, I'm going to be like, they emailed me back.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
So, but going through it, but yeah, it went switching it over from email course to it's still anonymous. It's just all within its own, like, kind of like a lot of people are familiar with Teachable. It's like they can still go and access.
Did you record videos? Did you end up redoing that kind of stuff? Or did you just take the emails and put them in and it's more text based?
So I re-recorded videos because I would do like a series every week whenever people would respond with questions.
Cool.
And so after I got through the first launch of things, I went through and I still have the text from the emails as part of the course.
The support,
I also went over and I made actual videos with a slide deck to show some of the more difficult things, looking at your Google Analytics to see which blog post is performing the best, and that maybe you should make a product that's associated with that kind of stuff. Because it's really hard to explain with just pictures and an email.
For sure.
But so I did go through and re-record things. But what I also like about it is the mindset of, just like within an academic year, you should hopefully every single time you offer a course be updating it if you're a professor at a college. And that's something I wasn't doing with my other courses. And I don't know why. I don't know what that disconnect is or what you guys said that made the light bulb go off that I needed to be constantly updating the digital entrepreneur courses too. I have no idea. But so yeah, it went really well. I'm happy with it. I'm hoping to relaunch it soon. Right now it's closed out.
I was going to say, is it available on your website, or are there some back end ways of getting in and then you do launching?
It's going to be launching again on October 31st.
Oh, nice.
It's Halloween. And
perfect.
I'm a former costume designer, so it makes me happy.
So are you going to dress up during the launch? That's a big question.
I should. I'm going as Mary Poppins this year, and I've got one of my children to agree to be a penguin. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Cool. So did you launch then? So the first launch you got in 112. These are my numbers and they could be wrong too. Somewhere around 100-ish people,
I think it was
right?
115 at the end.
115 at the end. And that was through that email that you wrote that you sent to 3 people, right?
Oh, yeah. So I sent
the legend. So the legend goes.
I totally forgot about that. So I don't have the only real people on my email list are the people who've gone through this course.
Anyone who's bought the course.
Yeah. And so I have been I really believe in being an active participant in communities. And so I sent the email. I think it was just 3. I really do think it was just.
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah, I think it was 3 people.
I'll have to go back and look at it. But I sent it to 3 people and I said, hey, so I'm doing this course and I think it would be valuable for anybody you wanted to share it with. And here's an outline of what it looks like. And here's a link to the cart. And then I think something happened and I wasn't checking my email.
You went on a hike.
Yeah.
We know this story. We have the story on a slide, and so we say it every time we deliver the slideshow.
I'm reminding her of her story.
We have to look at it.
You went on the hike for several hours and you came back.
Yeah, I love it. Which we also did this morning. That's why I'm a little sweaty and shiny.
So good.
Anyways, yeah. So and I came back and it was just what happened?
It was 100+ people, I think. Yeah.
It was world.
Yeah.
So that really just leveraging some relationships that I had, and 2 people were pretty big names, but one person who actually had the highest conversion rate.
Oh, really?
People was just I want to say a normal business owner, but not one of those people that you're just whoa, I know that name. I could casually mention that in a Facebook group and 30 people would be able to the website for somebody else. I know how that happens.
Yep.
But yeah, she had the most people. And I guess it was because she's got a smaller audience, but it's a really tuned in audience. And she sent out an email and said hey, Lydia's doing this. I
know you need help with this. Yeah.
I know this is what you guys need because it's what I need. And she ended up taking it too, which was really
cool.
But yeah, she had her people who clicked from her sending an email, just almost, I think it was a 62% conversion rate on people. That's where most of them came from. Really really awesome. I think it was 60,
cool.
It was 63%.
Yeah.
Did you set up like affiliates for them, or were they just being nice friends and just sharing the link?
So I didn't set up affiliates for them.
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah, it was
That's
a
what it
beta,
sounded
right?
like, yeah.
I wouldn't have,
Just
because I didn't think anybody was going to do it. I thought it'd be
right?
like,
You're like, it'll only be a couple of people. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
like my other ones were only like at max, one of my courses that I did that I've not mentioned had like 10 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 100% because I kind of bullied my friend group to join in on it. And it was like $15. And it was how to make an Etsy header, I think. Like,
which is a useful tool.
Yeah, good payoff.
Good payoff.
Yeah. It did not pay off very well. But yeah, so like actually I didn't set it up, and I actually ended up going back through, and I did give them all individual links just because it was just the 3 people. And
Yeah.
I'm a data nerd. Like, I teach data analysis. It's something I really enjoy. So I just did it out of curiosity. And then I could actually see, like, because I've got everything set up in Google Analytics to be able to track that, like actually see how many people came from that link.
From there,
And then went through it. And it would just have like the backslash in their name. Like, it wasn't anything fancy. And it was just the 3 of them. Now I am going to be, this time around, going to actually have an affiliate program.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Because it's just, there's so many students who have gone through that have wanted to do it too. But once I went and found out how many people these friends of mine had sent through, I did send them presents.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice.
So I sent them, I think, like, I'm from Kentucky, which you may have noticed some with my accent again, but I had like sent to them all like this, like the biggest bottle of Blanton's that you can buy, like the Blanton's bourbon. And
I was going to say, oh, okay, cool.
Like Ale 8 and Grippo's and McGill Brothers beef jerky, like all of the stereotypical Kentucky things. So I was just like, thank you for being awesome.
You're the best. That's so cool. Yeah. I remember when that happened, I was just like having flashbacks in MDR because we were running this like challenge and people were raising money, right? Like earning money by selling their courses. And you're like, I sold 112. I was like, is that a typo? Like, I was not excited.
Most people were like, one.
And you're like, no, that's what actually happened. I was like, what is going on? Yeah.
I didn't think it was like, I remember taking that and being the challenge and being like, okay, well, this is the last ditch.
It happens. Yeah.
Like, it's not done well in the past. Like, maybe I'm just meant to just be a college professor, and that's fine. Like, I do that really well and it makes me very happy. But I was just like, just one more try. Just one more try. I'm sure it'll work out. And then another good thing happened with it too. Like, I think I posted this in the group, but that because like I've got the course kind of set up as a nurture sequence of like, the students actually get to know me and know that I know what I'm talking about. By like, I think it was like either January or February, I was booked out for this entire year with website design.
So it leads to,
And they were, only 2 were not students. So that was really cool, especially since there were people who came in not having much money to like I had to drop the price to $97 to be able to get people to be able to access it, and that they were able to stabilize their income enough that they could actually
hire you. That's so fascinating. Yeah.
So, and that was just like a random byproduct that worked out really well.
And that's fast too. That's October to January.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean,
it's
that's
like one,
that's a quick.
Yeah. They got through the course basically. And then they were, really cool.
Yeah. Cause it was like, that was the other thing. I hadn't been making my courses have actionable like steps. Like it was like, and we're going to build up to this really big project at the end, and it's going to be wonderful and everybody's going to be happy and it's going to be great. And that wasn't like, it wasn't working for entrepreneurs the same way that a projects-based course does in higher ed. And so having those storybook endings, those became like the action steps. Like by the end of this module or
this section, you'll be able to do this.
You'll be able to do this. And it wasn't like, you'll be able to do this after you take this lesson.
Yeah. After 15 hours of content or whatever. Yeah.
It was like within 10 minutes of you starting this, you can start on this very specific action step. And that's something that I hadn't done before because that's just not how my brain was wired within.
Totally.
So,
which makes sense.
Right.
Bam.
How about, as we kind of close out, I guess, is what has been your favorite part about having a course as a big part of your business?
This is going to sound so cheesy.
No.
But like getting to know these other entrepreneurs that I've not been introduced to before, and getting to know like what their businesses are, and actually seeing them get to the point where they have a stable income. Like they may not be like multimillionaires, and that's fine. Like I definitely like the course is high up on the most amount of money that I make. Like that, like it definitely takes over like 2/3 of my income.
I was going to say, if you want like a percentage of your revenue stream, it's pretty up there.
Yeah. Yeah. And which is, really nice. Granted, I only had that, like, it was 3 months worth of income. That like, it was a lot in 3 months, which was really cool. But just getting to know them and getting to see them actually be able to implement that in their businesses. And a lot of them are like, I'm a young mom, and a lot of them are young moms too. And so it's really great to see them like go from having like feeling like they have to like hustle super hard all the time and grow this big email list and do all of these things whenever you can be successful without doing that. Like, yeah, it's great. And I'm sure that if I had a huge email list, I would perform and do better or make more money or whatever it is. But like, I don't really need that right now. And I'm happy with like the steady progress that we're going with. But yeah, just getting to meet and talk to everybody and seeing what they do, because some of them do like really cool and really, really weird stuff.
I love it.
Very happy.
I think I like that part too, is like seeing the unique way people are making money online. I'm with you on that too. Like you're just like,
the funny stories. Like I would never have thought about that.
We have like 3 equestrian folks in our, like, I was like, oh yeah, people want to learn about horses. Like it's just interesting. Or like ballet for women over like 50 or 40 or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, like that's a really great idea.
We have one. She is a company, and she is a possum rehabber.
No.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's cool.
I love possums. Like my family has had like pet possums, rehabbing them since like I was really little. And so I was so excited. She was like, the reason why I actually bought this course, somebody introduced me to it. And then I went and looked at your Facebook profile, and you have pictures of possums. And I was very excited. I was just like, we're perfect. It's going to be great.
Yes. Oh my God. That's so funny. We had some under our house.
In our basement.
Really?
We caught them and released them.
Yeah. We didn't them away from our house and let them go into the woods.
Oh, we didn't rehab them in any way, shape,
well, they didn't need rehabbing.
Oh, that's true.
They were fine.
They just need to be freed.
Yeah.
But we might have separated family members.
I put them in the same place. Yeah. We'll see.
But
and like a day apart.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They're resilient.
They're fine. They can,
They're
but that's really funny. Yeah. I love that part too. Like I think that's the coolest thing about doing what I do is actually hearing the results that your people get, right? Because it feels like, oh my gosh, this wouldn't be out in the world changing as many lives. Like, wait, how many students is that then if you're making that much money? That's like over 1,000.
Oh.
So there was the big chunk that were the 247.
Oh yeah.
And then it went down to 97.
You dropped it. Got it.
And then I've kind of like, whenever I did the math, I looped in any profit that was directly related to them clicking on a link and going
because they brought into your world through that.
Yeah, because I didn't have to do any extra marketing on it. Like it was just like they clicked on a link about info products and saw my product and purchased it. Like I didn't have to do anything else.
But you know where it came from. Okay.
Yeah, but I can tell that it definitely came from those students and that specific.
And that's what's so cool. What I like about your story, and also finding this out too, because we haven't talked actually about what has happened since that first beta launch. I know you've like hinted to it randomly, I think in the Facebook group, but like, what I like about this, and what I'm so glad we're doing this like series of like just highlighting how people are using their course. Like it's an asset in your business that lives longer than just the first launch if you do it right. And then you get to decide how it fits in the overall structure. So yeah, you probably could charge $497 and people would pay it. It would be less people. It would be a different experience. It would take more effort from you, right? So we're getting in this peak of like, if you can find an optimized price point that leads them to other things, right? That's a win from a perspective of like how you use the course in your own business. This is why when people ask me like, well, what should I price my course? It's like, there's so many factors that go into that, like your own entire business, for example, and how you come to that number.
That you had other products there waiting to increase, we talk about lifetime value
of your student. Exactly.
It's not just the price of the course.
It's not just that, but that's what I want to like show people, I think, is like, if you just stay with coaching and you work or like one-on-one services, like design work or like audits of websites, whatever, that's great. And it's one chunk. But if you never leverage that and put it in something else, a different container that can live past the hours that you put in, you never reach like new income levels. And it's just that idea of a course is an asset. Like, that when you keep tweaking it and keep listening to your students and finding the right price point and finding how it fits in your business and in the journey. Yeah. And the boundaries of it, like what the service or what the result is you get them, you can never position it anywhere else in your business. That first leap is the hardest leap. But once you do it, you can see how it pays off over and over again. It's not just I have to launch this course, once a year to make the amount of money. It's like, it fits in your entire business model.
And they're all like threaded together. So that's one of the things with like stable income strategy that like I teach with it.
Oh, so you live what you teach, huh?
Yeah, like they're all threaded together, and that's how you create a stable income.
That's how you move people through.
Just like, because I mean, I've got 2 little kids. One had to have surgery that was like a life-altering surgery, and I wasn't able to do the things that I needed to do. And I mean, I teach a ton of classes every single semester, and I love it and it makes me happy. But then sometimes I know that I can't take on as many clients during the school year as I can during the summer. And so instead of just like having those huge like roller coaster dips, I know that like it's going to be stabled out because I have diversified where money's coming from and how it's coming from, and even who the audience is, which is really helpful.
Oh, interesting.
But
I feel like we need to take her course. I'm like, this is interesting. But like, we're actually talking about that as we're like switching audiences as not switching, but like we are talking about this conversation about how everything weaves together right now. Maybe we should actually. I'm going to send me a link.
Yep.
Is it open? It's opening soon.
October 31st.
October 31st.
Yes.
I got to save up.
And then also one thing, like I've mentioned to you guys before about this, like Build a Better Beta helped me be a better professor too, because it helped me to go through and look at the courses, like either course frameworks that somebody else had created before I got there. And then a lot of the courses, like I just had to totally recreate, like a strategic storytelling class, or not recreate, like actually build
like around us. Yeah.
So strategic storytelling and digital career management and website design and development and like a whole social media certificate and digital marketing masters. Like I had to create all of those. And one thing that especially students that are like first generation college students really work with a lot. And then just other students too, of not understanding why we have like objectives within courses. Like they didn't understand like what those were. And one student I was talking to is like, while I was taking your course, because we ended up having professional development funds pay for your course, so that like pay for me to take it, because it was going to work out really well with
the development of your program. I remember that Facebook message you sent me. Yeah. Now
and that it like helped me be a better teacher, because whenever students said, like, I asked them how they like to learn, and I was pointing out, like, I'm a video game player, so I pointed out something with video games, and I was like, you do understand that the objectives that we have in class are like your mission, like like the quests that we're going to go through, like in a video game. And they're like, oh, and I was like,
you're like, I get it now.
Yeah, levels.
That's so funny.
So like, and once they saw that, and like we started framing it as a storybook endings with like really actionable steps at the end of like each of the sections within like a college course, they started like improving rapidly. And I think it was because they actually got what I was trying to teach them. Like, you know how you tell somebody what you're going to teach them, and then you teach them, and then you tell them what you taught them? Like,
so the saying goes,
like whoosh. And as soon as we started introducing it, like I've got like 3 other people on board with me on campus of like introducing it this way, and like the engagement.
Did we accidentally completely change how SLO should be? That might have happened.
Take the show on the road.
Yeah.
Go to the Lilly conference in Asheville next year and present on that.
It's so funny. So I just finished a book on like my beta course process and
writing a book, clarify.
like literally. And sorry, my book. Yeah. And I'm going to go back to this chapter because we're in the editing mode. Like I got it out of me. And so it's not in the like finished product mode yet. It's a couple months out. But all that to be said, like as I was writing it, I was like recognizing the overlap of my teaching career with like this entrepreneurship journey and like helping people. It's so funny because as I like zoom out, like all the like big things I've been able to contribute to this space came from the seeds of academia. But then if you flip it and turn it, you know, what I'm learning here could really be helping like academia. And it's almost like you can only think of it in this way because you're outside of the institution. Space. Because we were laughing. I remember when I first started my business and being like, oh my God, no one knows what an SLO is. So I can teach people what an SLO is. And like, oh, it's a game changer. Like work backwards from the end result. And, you know, I'm not the only course creator that says that, but I am the only course creator that actually tied it to the hero's journey and like made it be like, oh, wait, they're the hero, but the course isn't the plan, which is like a hero's journey language. Like I'm a guide with a plan. Here's the plan. No. The course is the actual journey itself. And when you start to like look at it that way, that's the student perspective of SLOs was never addressed really at all. It was always about top down. Yeah. How do we get teachers to like implement the things we want them to implement?
Check boxes.
And so we can track them, right? Which is why the teachers revolted against it, because it was like and the meetings to design them were like, whoa, what if we thought about it in a totally different way and centered the person who actually matters, which is the student. In reality, it was all coming down from admin. Like it's blowing my mind right now.
And you can like, having a moment. I can see from like working with students literally every day that they are more invested now because they actually understand and feel connected with what we're trying to teach. Yeah. And that has been just amazing to watch that transition from, and like, I can literally say it's because I took this course that I made.
Like, I don't know why it's so weird, but like it's weird.
I can literally say that like before I took the course, I was doing it like and nobody in our faculty could actually explain to me how to create SLOs.
It's literally the worst. Those meetings around it were the worst.
Yeah, and they were just like, well, so you could just go find some online and just tweak them a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, that's not related to my students.
Here's the table of verbs, which we give people.
We do. We give them a link and say, here's some verb examples. But that's all you get.
It's so true, though. Yeah. It's so interesting because it's interesting because you might be one of the first academics to like say it in this way. Though I know there are a lot of academics in BBB. There are a lot of teachers in BBB. It's not the whole percent. Like, I don't know what percent. It would be interesting to find out. But you might be the first person that took it like professionally and at least has reported back about doing that. And I'm out of the system now. So like that's where I also am feeling I think that was another point I wanted to make that came up for me. It was like, once I left, it's like I'm not engaging with college students anymore. And I'm just like, okay, how do I teach this to like the general population? But yeah, there's something about you straddling both worlds like and doing it really well that like makes you be like, oh, I can take that setup. This can be applied in my day-to-day college experience. And now you're making me think of all these other things. I don't even know. My mind's blowing right now. But yeah, crazy. Really cool though. And like, I never created BBB to ever think that it would actually impact any like college level teaching in any way, shape, or form. I was trying to bring what I knew from college into entrepreneurship. So that's exciting. And I love the idea that you can get professional development for this kind of thing. I know you did it after you paid for BBB probably. And I know it would have taken longer to get it to pay for BBB, but like, that's actually interesting. There might be some other teachers who could apply for it right now. I mean, we know, right? You have to do the hours. That's another like proof of hours. There's lots of ways to use it.
I showed, So like I paid for it out of pocket because it was just like that launch series was so quick and I was working on stuff and then I forgot to even submit.
Oh yeah.
Request. So fun times with that. But whenever I went back to them and I showed like my dean what I was doing, she was just like, okay, sure. And there was a little bit of tension with our business office over the fact that I had profited from it personally.
Oh, interesting.
And but people do that all the time.
For sure.
Like you go to a science conference and you come back and you come up with some great invention.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing. So, but anyways, like I had to actually show how I would implement that, like specifically with my courses and showing that like I actually like basically had to turn in homework to the business office.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I did this and I applied it to this course.
Yep. And here's how, and here's what the results are.
And then they were totally fine with it after that, especially since I also like went and showed other faculty members, like just like from the strategic storytelling, I was like, you can do it differently.
Yep.
SACS won't hate you.
Yep.
Like that's our accrediting body. Like it'll be fine.
We're WASP.
Have to follow the rules still. But yeah, so it did go really well once I showed them that I wasn't just taking like a Skillshare class on knitting.
Interesting. Wow. New positioning right there.
Right.
We got access to here. Really cool. So future plans of the course, you're relaunching this by the end of this quarter. It sounds like a great way to get you set up for 2020, right? Stable income. I think I'm going to enroll because I want to think about, I want to like rethink about my customer journey, like, because we're actually literally having this conversation right now. And so that's really cool. And anything else you want to share about where the course is headed or what you plan on doing with it?
So I have discovered something about myself that I do not do well with social media or business things that have my own name attached to them.
Oh, yes.
And I think that like I told like my husband, he does like, he's like Adidas students and he does leadership development stuff. And I've always thought I was an introvert. And he told me that he, after like 10 years of knowing me, he's like, I think you're an extrovert with anxiety. Like, I think that is what the problem is. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Probably like every teacher.
Lots of them.
So I'm actually going to be basically like rebranding, like taking Lydia kits out of things. And like I'm trying, like right now, I'm trying to come up with what my name is. But it's going to basically be around the idea of being a strategy guide, because that's what I teach in college. And that's what I would like to teach more people about. Like there's so many courses and things about how to actually do something, but there's tons of people who say like, oh, I'm a brand strategist. And it's like, I'm really glad you think that you are, but do you know how to do that strategically?
Yeah.
And so really having a successful launch with the stable income strategy course has given me like the confidence that I can go and do more courses that strategically
fit together.
I didn't mean to say that, but that do fit together and they complement one another. So I'm basically going to relaunch in some way. I'm not sure what it's going to be called yet. It's in flux, but because like I've got another business that I post on social media all the time with, but it's not my name.
But it's not your name.
And I've like finally figured that out after talking to like one amazing Instagram coach, and she was just like, I really think it's your like the name.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because on my own account, like that's like a business account, I definitely post pictures of my ridgebacks, possums, and my kids and hiking. And that's like all that I post on there. So, and because I don't know, I genuinely don't know. And I don't have time to do the therapy on why. But anyway, so that is one of my plans. Like, yes, I'm going to relaunch it, but I'm also going to really look at like, what else can I apply BBB to that I do well already and that would actually serve people.
Yep.
And not just be like, heat maps for creatives. We're going to look at data, guys. It's going to be great. And everybody's going to love it. Yeah. But like, I think I'm just the weird person who likes data on that side. It's fine. So yeah, but that's my plan really, is just to relaunch this for quarter 4 and roll with it. We'll see.
Sounds good.
I feel like Lydia, you could give our whole masterclass talk for us and just walk through your story, because it's exactly like what we tell students to do, and like also not to do, like from the like building slides and making a polished video course.
It's so true.
And putting something out there that you are excited about, but people weren't excited about. And so, yeah, that's like exactly our walkthrough of like the beta process, like perfectly.
I think that's also why it spoke to me so much, because it was just like every single thing that like was on the like, don't do this, do this. I was like, oh,
you're like, what? All the things I did it all wrong.
I did. And the like, Lindsay, you told me once, like something about like, we are academics and we crave to be right. Like, constantly, like you constantly work for that A of like, in that validation that you're doing good. Yeah. And for me, like, it was so disheartening to make like, and like these, like
a good product, right? It was good. Yeah.
Like these slides were beautiful.
I bet.
Very well designed, and like video
as
production.
As they would coming from Lydia.
It was great. Yeah. But then like just the topic was just like so off base for everybody but me and like 4 other people who already knew everything about data analysis for website design.
I still think there's a space for it. I think it's a positioning problem for you, because as I'm sitting here going, I know my website is not set up well. Like, yes, I would probably hire somebody, but also maybe not. Like maybe if there were things I could learn really quickly, and I think that's it. What's the like 20% of things that I could learn to get 80% of the results that an optimized website would get? Like, versus focusing on like, but yeah, I think what you do is really important, and it's just
not
figuring out the positioning of it. Like, who needs it and why, and what's the like problem, obviously, that you're solving, which we talked a lot about in BBB. Anyways, cool. Well, it's been so fun catching up. Yay.
Absolutely.
We talked about possums. We talked about making over 100K with the course. It's been a real pleasure. Where can people find you now what's your new Instagram handle?
Oh,
I don't know if we can get that far.
Well, actually, for now, you guys can, if you want to come check out possums, you're welcome to following me at Lydia Kitts, just like LYDIAKITTS. Sometimes my accent makes it sound like I've got some peas thrown in there.
No peas.
But no peas. And once I come up with whatever the handle is going to be and the new account, it will be shared on that account. So, and we will link to the course. Do you have like a course landing page yet for the new?
Yes. For the 31st.
It's just at this, like thestableincomestrategy.com.
Perfect.
So
awesome. I will see you on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Lydia.
Thank you, guys.
Chat.
Bye.